There he is. The round mound of Pound Town himself.
The round mound of Pound Town. The shirts are on their way.
The shirts are on the way.
Did
you give me a pause shirt?
Most definitely.
Okay. We got to spread that. We got to spread that out and share the round mound of Pound Town with the world.
Yeah, with the world. The world needs to know.
I feel like a good way to describe our show is just girthy. Just
that's girth. A hell of an adjective. It is. There's a lot of girth going on around here.
We are girthy. We bring a lot to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, so we have a guest today. We got to catch up with him. And I'll tell you a little bit more about him. I'm sure a lot of you have seen him. Blew up on the TikTok world.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a few topics you want to get into. I'm feeling dull. I'm looking at our setup here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know what I feel like we need a fresh face on this. We need a makeover. What do you think?
I agree, actually. I want to get more, contemporary, more with the times, it started out great. I love our logo. I love the way we look right there. You look like a boss with a cigar. And the fact that you're in front of me, actually, even though I had the Super Bowl ring, means you're way
and taller than you. And
you're taller than me, which is not at all factual in real life at all.
No, that means you're standing 10 yards behind me for me to be that much taller than you.
But yeah, we need to spruce this up a little bit.
We can rotate this in.
We don't have to rebrand per se.
No. Name's the same, but when I think of us, and that's why I'm getting into this. When I think of us, like I said, girthy. And I look at the cursive. That doesn't say girth. That says Miami Strip Club. That says Strip Club in Miami. It says Miami Vice.
Actually, that's not a bad thing at all. If that's what it says, we might need to keep it because I've been to.
Nobody in a strip club in Miami is coming to see Rhodey and Trey. I'm sorry. They ain't coming to see us up on that stage. We're the guy in the back that's like, now up on stage, Destiny. Gentlemen, find your destiny. 2 for 20 lap dances here at the 20. Girth Club.
Dang.
Miami Vice. I took it back to the 90s.
We are cheap, apparently.
we got to compete.
We got to compete.
Nobody comes to the strip club for the girthy women either. We're all girth all the time.
Everybody needs love. Everybody needs love.
You know who else is girthy?
Who's that?
I got to give him a shout out because he's been one of my favorites. I'm really digging the podcast world these days. It's why we talked for years about getting into this and doing it and hearing people unfiltered and uncensored and just be themselves and their personalities. Jason Kelce retiring. I mean, I think we all knew it.
Dude, so during my O-line playing days with Pittsburgh, and mind you, I've made lifelong friends in all facets of life, especially my teammates, every single position group, wide receivers, defensive linemen. But there's nothing like the camaraderie, the chemistry that you form with your O-line brethren, because our job is unique. And not only in what we do physically, but what gets out to the world in general. We're not the glitz and glamour position of any football team. We are the hogs. It's like how we like to describe ourselves. We are in the trenches. And because of that, you form special bonds. And there are certain types of personalities that you are just prone to be attracted to. I've never played it down with Jason Kelce. I don't know this man at all. But he is my brother. He retired yesterday. And it was sad because after 13 years in the NFL, still playing at a high level, he decided to walk away. And not many of us get that opportunity to call our own shot towards the end of your career. And I would never, there's not a better person to be afforded that opportunity than Jason Kelce. Obviously, he's been on a hype train this last year and a half due to him and his brother and the Taylor Swift fiasco. But outside of that, though, like, he has been the pillar of the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, which has been one of the best offensive lines for like the last 4 or 5 years. But he has been able to really show who he is in a way that a lot of us don't get to do. He's had a grander stage, so to speak, because of his connection to his brother and their popularity with the relationship with Taylor Swift. And we got to see the world got to see how an old lineman likes to get down. Jason Kelce gets down. We are cut from the same cloth. I am one of him. He is one of us. And it was great to see that he got to leave. Right. He took a Nacho Libre mask from a kid.
From the floor.
He returned it, mind you. Once he found out that some kid was missing it. But like, that shit, we do random mess like that. We pick up masks, we dance, we go around with our shirts off. We know we don't got a six-pack. We don't have all the triceps and biceps, but we are confident because we know ladies love the big guy. Ladies love the big man. They love the big man that is not afraid, that's full of confidence, that is not afraid to go out there and just show what they got. And Jason Kelce is that guy. Congratulations to him for having a hell of a career. But yeah, I'm glad the world got to see how us O-linemen really like to get down. Jason Kelce is a great representative of every offensive lineman that has ever played in the NFL.
Listen, he's on Team Girth.
Yes.
And we're going to track Jason Kelce down, and we're going to somehow get him a Team Girth t-shirt. You're one of us. You're one of us, and he is Team Girthy. First of all,
I'm sure he is part of the Round Mound of Pound Town Club as well.
Oh, dude.
I mean, he's coming. He's having his third. He just had his third kid. So obviously,
not a doubt,
he pounds the town, and he's round and mound while he does it.
Keep going. I'm just gonna let you finish that off right there. He, I caught his little. First of all, him referencing Nick Foles' unit in his retirement speech. Again, the personality of an offensive line. But before that, like, his goodbye retirement speech at the Eagles facility the other day was like the saddest shit since Mufasa died. I'm watching it like,
yes, it really was.
Like, I'm like, I don't even know Jason Kelce. I'm like, what? I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
Why are you leaving? And like, I felt it all in my feels because it just hurt deep for him. Because football is one of those sports that when you are done, you are done. There's no alternative. There's no beer league softball or
there's no senior league football team.
Yeah, there's no 30 and up basketball league for football. Like, in flag football is not the same.
No.
Once you leave that huddle. No, once you leave that huddle and you know it's done, it's and I think what you hit on, he is fortunate to be able to call his shot and walk away on his own terms, but I think it makes it harder because you know you can still do it. Like, and you can attest to this, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this, that you can still get up for game day, but it's practice and preparation and game day after game day after game day. Like, you could go out and give somebody 4 quarters for sure. You can maybe even give them half a season. But when your standard is competing for a championship and you know your body well enough to know that I'm just at an age where I'm not going to make it into January or February and be at the level I need to, like, that's got to be a hard feeling.
Yeah.
Because he could go out and still give you a season.
And people don't realize the main difference between football and most sports, I can't think of actually any sport that has to do what we have to do. When I bring this point up, we play total 20 games. 20, if you're counting preseason, 3 games in the preseason, the 17 games in the regular season, and at most 4 games if you are a wild card team and you make it all the way through the Super Bowl. So that's 24 games, 24 weeks of football. There are still 28 other weeks in a year that you can't play that game at all. Basketball, you can play pickup basketball. Soccer, you can play pickup soccer. Tennis, you can go hit with somebody. Golf, you can just go golf. Baseball, you can get a group of guys to go out there, and you can't mimic football unless you're playing football. And
especially game reps.
Especially game reps. And so we train all year long. All year long. We practice once we get into the season 5 days out of the week for one opportunity each week. Baseball, basketball, tennis, soccer, any other sport, they have multiple games throughout the week, throughout the year. And so my point is, you do all of this to get your body right for 24 moments at most. Most guys have 20 or less. 24 moments in life. And you got to do all this stuff, beating your body up, eating the right type of stuff, putting stuff inside your body, training, sleeping right, do all this stuff. And there is no immediate gratification. It is delayed gratification. And so when it comes to retiring, it's something that you've done and you've trained your body to do every day for, I don't know, Kelce's what, 36, 37? Yeah, let's say conservatively, he started playing football at 8 years old. So 30 years, almost 30 years of his life. And to come to a decision where you be like, to your point, you can't do this after you retire. But to come to that decision, be like, I can't do this anymore, or I don't want to do this anymore, or there are other things more important in my life that I got to tend to, that I got to pay more attention to, so I can't do this anymore. That's a tough decision. That's tough. And you saw it 5 seconds in. 5 seconds into his speech.
Yeah, he was mush.
He was a done.
I mean, he was just mush and in tears. And it's
right.
You know, not even getting into coaching. You can get the camaraderie getting into coaching, but you're not going to get that feeling of stepping on the field and looking in the huddle and the intensity and just being in the arena. You know what I mean? Like just being in that moment. And when you've played at the highest level, that also adds to it. You know, I think back to guys like Joe Thomas, who never even got the chance to, make playoff runs.
Right.
And, Jason Kelce's fortunate in a lot of ways, but it's a tough decision to make because most of us are forced out when we're 18, 20, 21, 22 years old by force.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that there's so many people on the couch that would just love to go back to lace them up one more time. But at the NFL level, it's not just lacing them up one more time. It's going through treatment. It's whatever surgery. I mean, when you're an lineman, I've been told, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some sort of cleanup surgery or something most of them are having every year. On ankles,
bone spurs,
knees, wrists,
every joint. And a unique
rehabbing.
Our position is different than everybody else's on the field because we are in a bended knee position and have to fire out and take contact from that position. So it is hell on your ankles, joints, and hips. Every old lineman that I've ever known has ankle, knees, or hip issues. And it's painful. But the thing is, like, it's relative because you get used to the pain. You get used to the uncomfortability. And so it's second nature. You don't even think about it sometimes. But if you're cognizant enough and aware enough to know that your body should be doing these things, and Kelce, 13 years in, he has started some kind of ridiculous. He started every game since like 2017, which is like nuts. And I might be wrong. It might be 2016, but like he started every single game for like the last 7 seasons. And to have that type of durability, but also, like I said, be cognizant enough to know, man, that I was lucky. I've been fortunate. Let me get out when I can. Let me get out right now. And it makes it a little bit easier when you have 3 beautiful girls. Let's count 4, including his wife. When you have that type of,
she's fun.
yeah,
when she does her interviews and stuff, she's a trooper. She just seems to be a fun time.
I'll tell you, if he had boys, it might be different, but he has girls. He has girls, and it's just like there's nothing to a dad like a girl. It makes you weak. It makes you do things that you normally won't do. It softens you at your hardest points. So, yeah, he has girls, young girls that want all the daddy time, and he made a decision that he wanted to conserve his body and not put it through another year of hell, so he can go out there and roll around and run around with his kids while he still can. And so, kudos to him. Had a hell of a career. He's Hall of Famer, probably first ballot, but has a Super Bowl, has another Super Bowl appearance, and dude, we're still going to see a lot of him. He has established himself as
he is meant for a network gig. Yeah, he is meant for a network gig. Like I don't know about calling games, but you put him on a studio set somewhere in some role.
It's not going to be in the traditional sense. He's not. He is going to be him. He won't go to a place where he can't be him. He's not going to wear a suit. He's going to wear flip flops and a tank top to the set, like whatever he can do to be him.
Maybe a cape, maybe a luchador mask.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
We kudos to Jason Kelce. And while Travis is still playing, Jason's going to be around. I mean,
right.
People don't remember the Eagles did not win the Super Bowl, but damn it, Jason Kelce partied like they did. He was out there. He was out there getting turned up, stumbling into bushes, not finding his way back to the room. So we'll see plenty of Jason Kelce. He'll probably get ordained and officiate Travis and Taylor's wedding.
Yeah.
Like he'll probably be the one to marry.
Oh, actually, I would not be surprised. That is a good prediction right there. Yeah. I would not be surprised if that happened.
Well, from one, so there's a few topics. We're going to talk running backs. You and I were texting about some running back stuff. So I want to get to that. A couple GOAT coaches that reportedly are going to have new roles. But before any of that, we go from one legend to another. We got this interview, and we're not going to play it for you quite yet, but you can attest. I was excited for this interview.
Yeah, you were very excited. And actually, when I saw this guy do his thing on TikTok, which I am admittedly, I have my moments of TikTok addiction at night.
In bed at night.
2 hours go so fast scrolling through
and
TikTok.
On the toilet.
Oh, and on the toilet.
The toilet. Before you know your legs asleep, you're like.
Right. But yeah, like if TikTok is the new thing, I guess. But this guy right here, the thing is, it wasn't a clip that was made for the millennials or Gen X or Gen Z or whatever. It was made for the relatable human being who doesn't know the words to the songs.
So we got the clip. I'm going to play the clip. Let me play the clip, and then everybody will kind of know who we're talking about, or most people will.
Gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you. And I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling.
What does he say?
I don't know. I just be making stuff up.
What when that was playing just then, what were you saying?
Hippopotamus. A group of guys got us.
What?
Yeah.
And what?
I don't know.
What do you? So when you were little,
What we're going to do? Anywhere.
what else does he talk about?
Yeah, hippopotamus. Hippopotamus. I don't know.
Dude, you know what was amazing by all that?
Oh,
His mouth barely moved.
oh my God. So that is Jay, aka J Bone, internet TikTok sensation. We were able to catch up with him, and he joined us for a little interview. We're gonna play back for you guys just because he is just a fun, regular dude, and we just had fun talking to him.
Right.
But I watched that video, and my family will attest to I had tears in my eyes the first time I saw that because I do the same thing with that song.
Dude, and I wrote down a list of songs. After watching that made me go back, and it really made me question, did I know the words to a lot of these songs? Like Bone Thugs and Harmony, first of all, and you're from Ohio. You're from Cleveland, where Bone is from. And dude, like I spent a good portion of my childhood recording their songs on cassette tape and playing them back, especially First of the Month, Notorious Thugs. Notorious Thugs is probably the one that I played back the most. Yep. Trying to just see what the hell Crazy Bone is saying. You know, just like, but dude, like I probably said hippopotamus.
Right. As I was, it came out at some point.
It makes the most sense. And so what made that video so awesome?
Vibing, like just I'd be shooting the basketball and Bone comes on, you turn up like you just start going with it. And him and his wife, they've made some other TikTok videos and they've blown up, gone viral and all that stuff. But when we reached out, I had to because I would walk around the house and my kids, I would just be like, my daughter would get home from school, I'd be like, hippopotamus. And she would just look at me like, again, are you serious? I'm walking around the cruise. And I remember my wife texted me one time while we were on the cruise, because that's how we would link up. You know, she'd be over here, I'd be over there. Like, where are you? I'm at the casino. She'd be like, who are you there with? And I just reply with a group of guys, got him. And she was like, you're stupid. She was like, you're stupid. So we talked a little sports, talked a little life, talked a little drinking with J-Bone that he's been coined. And we'll play that back for you. But before that, you were talking to me about this free agent running back class.
Dude, it's well documented about how devalued the running back position has been, but there's not a bigger sign of that than the free agency class that we have of running backs, proven running backs, Pro Bowl running backs, all pro running backs that are all hitting the free agency market because their team does not want to pay them, does not value them enough to keep them around. And the oldest running back of this group is 30 years old. And that's Derrick Henry, who is the most accomplished running back of this group. But if I'm going down the list, there are 6 running backs off the top of my head. There's probably a few more that are going to be free agents this year. You got Derrick Henry. And mind you, before I really get into it, we all know who the best player on the San Francisco 49ers was this year.
Yeah, it was Christian McCaffrey.
And so to say that running backs aren't important or should be devalued kind of flies in the face of San Francisco's success this year. And so, mind you, they lost to a team that didn't really have a running back. So that kind of
not everybody's
proves the point that they should be devalued. But at the same time,
not everybody's Christian McCaffrey.
No, I know. I get that. But a lot of running backs are trying to mold themselves into being dual threat running backs. He's kind of
right. Yes.
And so,
like, I'll tell you right now, a guy who, when I was one of my favorite players as a kid, who in today's NFL would have probably been at the top of the pay list for running backs.
Marshall
and
Faulk.
you might have one as well. Well, no, Marshall Faulk was paid well, but even before him, Eric Metcalf. Eric
Oh, yeah.
Metcalf
Oh,
played
of course, Sid
tailback,
Brown.
wide receiver. Well, I said one of my favorite players. What do you expect?
Of course, Sid Brown. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Eric Metcalf, they flanked him out at receiver. They put him in the backfield. That wasn't how the NFL was back then. Like they didn't do those type of things. And then you started seeing it with like Danny Woodhead. Marshall Faulk, obviously, and the Rams offense was something special. But like little guys who were just like not paid a lot of money, but they found ways to utilize them, like your Danny Woodheads and guys like that.
I get Le'Veon Bell tried to put the running backs. He tried to reverse this trend that's happening right now. He tried his best.
And Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara did as well.
Right. And so Le'Veon went all the way to the point where he held out and decided to leave and go to the Jets. And we all know how that story ended. But nevertheless, not everybody is CMC. We get that. And not everybody is CMC with a coordinator like Shanahan. And so and even without we saw his success in Carolina. So it's not like he was benefit. I think San Francisco benefited more from CMC than CMC benefited from San Fran because he just did what he's been doing. This wasn't even his best season ever.
No. I think the best one was LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, the one who just did it all. I mean, just did it all. And really, he's the one who blew the lid off. Him and Marshall Faulk are the two that blew the lid off utilizing the running backs the way they're utilized today.
Right. But so we have a free agency this year that is probably the jewel of the class is Saquon Barkley, who was Mr. Everything in New York and got a raw deal because he didn't have an offensive line at one point ever in his tenure with the Giants. And then you got Derrick Henry, who was everything for Tennessee. Tennessee would have never made the playoffs. Vrabel probably would have got fired 2 or 3 years ago if it was not for Derrick Henry. He helped resurrect Tannehill's career. Tannehill got a big contract because of Derrick Henry, probably. Like he had a big part to do with that. He's a free agent now. Then you got Austin Eckler from the Chargers, who was Mr. Everything last year for Herbert. He really helped Herbert transition to the NFL. I think for every rookie quarterback's best friend is a running back that can shoulder a good portion of the load so that the quarterback isn't the main person that has to make all the plays. And then you have Josh Jacobs, who had a resurgence year last year, got franchised, got out to a slow start, is finished strong. That's 4, right? So Saquon, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs. You got Tony Pollard. They got rid of Ezekiel Elliott because they thought Tony Pollard was the guy. He did not have a great year being the guy.
The solo guy.
We've seen that happen multiple times before where you think 1B can do what 1A does, and then 1B becomes 1A, and then you realize real fast 1B was his role. It should have been his role. And
happens with receivers a lot when they try to bump guys up to be that number one receiver, then you realize, he really benefited from all the coverage the number one receiver took away from him.
Juju and AB. Yep. Prime example. And then you got DeAndre Swift, who had a hell of a year with Detroit last year. Not as good of a year with Philly this year.
That's because the Eagles play 13 running backs and Jalen Hurts takes all the rushing touchdowns.
Right. This is true. So those are 6 running backs. And I think there are a few more. J.K. Dobbins, oft injured.
Joe Mixon will be
Devin Singletary.
Joe Mixon will be it.
Yep. Devin Singletary with the Houston, who had a really good year this past year.
How old is Mixon? Mixon's got to be only about 32, right?
Say what?
Joe Mixon's got to be only about 30 years old as well, right?
Yeah. All these guys are 30 or less. These are young guys. And they say that 30 is the year for running backs where they start to see the decline. And there are stats to prove that. But
wow. He's only 27.
Dude, yeah, these guys are young. DeAndre Swift's 25. So these guys are.
And other than Derrick Henry, they have less miles on them than running backs of yesteryear because everybody does use 2 running backs in the NFL now.
Right. But you got to look, and I'm going to use my team, for example. When you get and you see a guy like Jaylen Warren, who is an undrafted free agent, teams think I can get that type of production from an undrafted rookie. Why would I pay a Derrick Henry? Why would I pay a Saquon Barkley when I can get that? Because he looks like he could do the things that Saquon has done. And mind you, he's a 1B right now. And people have been asking for him to start over Najee, but Najee proved his worth the second half of the season, I thought. And so what is all shown, I guess, is not always true. You know, what people do in spot duty, they can't do in a full-time role all the time.
Right.
And so there's a lot of fluff that comes with that. I don't know if we'll ever get back to the times where we can pay a running back $15, $20 million a year. And I think evidence is the fact that they are letting these all-pro, Pro Bowl type running backs to the free agency market with no qualms about it.
Well, and part of it you just hit on is because of you can get serviceable guys for cheap in the draft or free agency or whatever. But when we were texting a little bit about this, and I started looking it up, when you go down the list of most of the running backs you just mentioned, go down the list of the teams that they played for, and to a T, their quarterbacks have all already gotten their deals. And I think I added it up, and it was like between Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson was on there, Deshaun Watson. There was over $1 billion guaranteed to these quarterbacks, and just guaranteed money. That's not talking about salary cap hit.
Right.
There's been $1 billion guaranteed to them. And other than, I mean, Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow have both made it to the Super Bowl, but it's not like Philly is without questions about Jalen Hurts going into this season.
Right.
And Joe Burrow has been hurt for 50% of his career. He's only finished the season twice.
Right.
So you're tying a lot of money up into assets when you look at that list of guys, and Russell Wilson's on the other end of his career and just got cut. There's a whole lot of resources and money tied up into guys who are not producing in terms of wins, you know, in terms of championship. Justin Herbert hasn't won squat yet. You know, hasn't even made the playoffs, I don't think.
He got like a $260 million deal. Yeah.
Right. Deshaun Watson has not played a full season for the Browns since getting his deal. Lamar Jackson is great in the regular season, but we saw it again this postseason. Jalen Hurts is a stat stuffer, but what does he do now that his deal's kicked in and you're seeing them, you know, no DeAndre Swift? Do you have to move on from A.J. Brown? That offensive line is going to get worse without Jason Kelce. But when you go across the board, where else can you make the cut? You can't. If you have a good O-line, you can't make the cut at O-line. You know, people don't really tie a whole lot of money up into tight end other than a couple teams. And you're not going to – so you're really running back, defensive back, and sometimes linebacker. Those are the three positions that I feel are hurting the most because of the overvalue and overpaying of quarterbacks.
And wide receivers, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Wide receivers.
Like Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill and his deal, and Tua's going to get $40 million a year soon. I don't think he should, but he's going to get it.
I mean, he should have. Daniel Jones got it. So
that's the market's going to dictate that. I'm just saying,
right.
if it was my money, I let Mike McDaniel do his voodoo with anybody.
Skylar Thompson.
Well, you could we just went over the list of free agent quarterbacks on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That you could plug and play a guy, and it's kind of like Kyle Shanahan. It's the same system as Kyle Shanahan. You get somebody who can scheme guys open, and you know this might be something that fits for you guys. But we just talked about linebacker. The Dolphins are not going to bring back Jerome Baker. It looks like
he's going to be in Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah, he could be a fit for the Steelers, and So a lot of these teams, they're making sacrifices at other positions. I mean, I'm not going to sacrifice edge rusher for a running back. I'm not going to sacrifice run defense. I don't know where else you make the cuts, but at some point, the market has to correct itself with these quarterbacks getting paid without producing to that. I mean, you have to win at least a Super Bowl with what these guys are paid. And the reality is somebody out of that group between Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Tua, these guys who are getting 40, 50 million, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. They're just not enough Super Bowls to go around.
All it takes is one team to overpay one quarterback. Yep. That's all it takes to reset the market. And the Giants did that with Daniel Jones. Philly did it with Carson Wentz.
Yep.
And so, Detroit did it with Matt Stafford. And even though he might have been deserving, but like they handcuffed themselves to the point where they couldn't bring in enough talent on either side of the ball to support him because they felt like they had to keep Matt Stafford. And so, but that's just the way it is. That's just the reality. You're gonna pay the quarterback in this league, especially when you see the difference that Patrick Mahomes, a quarterback, can make. You can literally, and I know that's it should be an unrealistic goal, but it's not. Everybody's still reaching for that quarterback that can elevate a team to the point where you don't need to have a Tyreek Hill in order to win a Super Bowl. You don't need to have a Derrick Henry running the ball. All you need is that quarterback.
And that's people selling Patrick Mahomes short on just how special and good he is.
Right.
But yeah, they made the adjustments and they cut it running back. And like the only people being paid in Kansas City right now on the offensive side of the ball are Kelce and Mahomes.
Right.
There's nobody else.
And Kelce is underpaid.
He is. Because he was one of his deals from years ago at this point.
I think Dalton Schultz just signed a contract that pays him more per year.
With Houston, yeah.
With Houston.
He just re-signed with Houston.
Yeah.
I think this is the only way it's going to be fixed. And it's got to be I don't even know that teams are going after quarterbacks because they think that's their best reason to win. I think they're doing it because they think it's their best way to keep their job. Employed. Yes.
Yeah. Keep their job.
GMs think that getting that quarterback is the best way to keep, because all it takes is the right GM that just says, I've got the balls to come out and every 2 to 4 years draft another quarterback and put the best team around him to keep the team at a Super Bowl level, and then try to get the coach and quarterback to play within the system that will win us a Super Bowl, because the Patrick Mahomes of the world are so special.
And so, yes. And so it's unrealistic. It's a faulty dream that a lot of these GMs have. And this is actually a somewhat segue into why I think Chicago should keep Fields and trade that number 1 pick for a haul. Like, build the team. And if Justin Fields doesn't work, you can get rid of him after next year and draft a quarterback. You know? And so, but you have a solid base, a solid foundation, which Chicago has not had in a long time. And so Ryan Poles has his work cut out for him. But I did that, and you brought that up. But you know who else? We talk about the Bears. Bring us back to our guy, J-Bone. This man is from North Carolina, and he is not a Carolina Panthers fan. He is a Bears fan.
He is. Yeah, he's got them all. He talked to us about it. You want to go ahead and play J-Bone for everybody now?
Play J-Bone, man. Let's hear. Let's let the people hear what J-Bone is like.
All right, Trey. We talked about this earlier in the week, and it's unnatural how excited I am for this, because we've talked to football coaches, we've talked to actors, we've talked to music people. We got the one and only J-Bone on with us now.
My guy, J-Bone.
J-Bone.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What's going on, Jay? You come on and talk a little sports with us, talk a little music?
Hey, whatever you want to talk about, I'm down, man. You know?
So Let me preface this, and we played the clip earlier of Jay's TikTok, and then several others that I've watched. Jay, I was on a cruise with my wife
Yeah.
not long ago, and the amount of times that I ran around there and I was talking about hippopotamus, group of guys, she was like, "If you say that one more time, I'm gonna smack you in the back of the head."
Dude, I love it though, man, because that right there is relatable as hell. Because there are a good handful of songs, especially that one. Where
Right.
I don't know the damn words to it, but I go with what I think they are, and you
Yeah.
did it
I
to
mean,
a T.
why not? You know?
Right.
Sounded good,
Yeah, life's too short to be worried about serious stuff, you know?
Yeah, man.
right?
So,
And it sounded good. It would, if I wouldn't have known, I would have thought it said hippopotamus.
yeah, I think that's the part why it went so viral, man, is because it was so relatable, I guess. But as for all our rest of our TikToks, we're just regular old folks, man, just trying to get out there.
Having fun.
So,
Having
yeah.
fun. So let me ask you this before we get into some sports stuff, because I want to know J Bone's favorite teams. I want to know the other music you listen to and things like that.
Right.
You also did one where you looked up the lyrics to the Bone song and you were perplexed. But before we get there, I know you got a little one, right?
Well, she ain't little no more, but yeah,
Right.
she's 16, about to be 17.
Yeah. So does she I've got an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old. So, we do the karaoke, we have fun. I'm always running around the house singing and stuff, and they just look at me and shake their head and tell me to stop. How's your 16-year-old when it comes to you and your videos, and does she have fun with it, or does she just look at you like, "Dad, stop"?
To start with, she kind of thought it was embarrassing a little bit. And then now, she's starting to get in them a little bit here and there, which she's always been in our TikToks, but sparingly. But yeah, she's coming on around.
So I got a 11-year-old and a 9-year-old daughter too, and they always want to know. We have prevented them from getting on social media, so they vicariously live through my social media life right now. And so they like that. It's pretty cool that I'm talking to you because I showed them the video, and even though they don't know who the hell Bone Thugs and Harmony is, but they know they've heard me listen to it, or they've heard me listen to the song, and it was like, "That's the guy right there, hippopotamus guy. You gonna talk to him today?" So you gonna give me some cool points today. I appreciate that, Jay.
Hey man, no problem. I'm here. I'm here to help.
So what's a normal day like for J Bone? What's you and the wife? I know you got the TikTok, so take us through a normal day for you.
Well, a normal day would be waking up at 4:40 in the morning and go to work, and get off at 6, be home at 6:30, hoping that Ashley's cooked something, or if she's at a game, then I'll cook something, whatever. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. Like, I work 3 to 4 days every week. I'm on a rotating schedule, and we try to squeeze in time for TikToks here and there. There's the good thing about ours is we don't script anything, so
all natural.
It's just all random stuff. So
Has life
every once
changed
in a while, every once in a while, I actually be like, "Hey, hold on, that's a TikTok moment right there." I'm like, "Okay."
When did you start getting into this TikTok thing?
Oh man, we've been on TikTok since 2021, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been on it for a while. We've had viral videos before, but nothing that took off quite like this one. So yeah, it's been a pretty cool ride.
I like it.
We got the J Bone, the additional member of Bone Thugs and Harmony, with us on the
honorary
today. Honorary member. Look, you need to pull some strings and find out. I'm in Ohio. I'm from Cleveland, so Bone is right up my alley, and I need you to pull some strings for me, and I need to figure out how I get into the group.
Hey man, I don't know. I don't even know how I'm supposed to get in.
But go ahead and go on tour with him, man.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, that's the funny thing about it is most people are like, "Oh man, you got a viral TikTok. You're famous on TikTok." Yeah, I still go to work, every day.
You gotta pay the bills.
Gotta
pay the bills.
That's it, man.
And them kids, when they get up to a certain age, them bills don't stop.
No, oh no.
So, J-Bone, you born and raised in North Carolina?
Yep, born and raised. Been in the same town pretty much my whole life.
Okay. And so, does that make you are all your teams, the sports teams that you root for, are they all North Carolina based?
Absolutely not.
I mean, that would have been a tough life if you were a Carolina Panthers or a Charlotte Hornets fan.
I used to be a Panthers fan. I got traded. I'm a Bears fan now.
Okay. I mean, that's not much
yeah.
better, but
So yeah, I know. But look, I couldn't be a bandwagon fan though. You know,
I got you.
I couldn't go to
A man
Kansas
of
City.
principle.
Dude, I
Kansas
appreciate
City.
you.
I couldn't
knew
go
you
to
was
the
one of us.
Eagles. You know, I couldn't go. I'm not going to the Dallas Cowboys.
Hell no.
That's part of my trade transcript is I'm
That's
not
the fine
offered.
writing your agent worked in.
Right. Absolutely.
So why the Bears?
Why not? You know, the Bears. They got
nobody else loved them, so you're gonna love them.
right. Yeah. You know, I had to leave one organization, you know, so I figured why not pick the second worst organization? So it is what it is. But no, I like the Bears, man. They got a lot of history too, which is what I like. So
this is interesting because this week, man, we're with all the combine and draft and free agency stuff going on. The Chicago Bears are right in the middle of everything. The fact that they got the number one overall pick, and they got a guy there that's kind of been a lightning rod for trade talks in Justin Fields. Put your GM hat on for a second. What do you think the Chicago Bears should do with Justin Fields and the number one overall pick?
Well, I know there's a lot of people that say trade him. But for what? What are you going to trade him for? For a quarterback out of the draft that may or may not work out? I mean, you already know you got a franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. He's good. He just don't have any help. So I would definitely, you know, look at getting some O-line help and look at getting some other weapons to help them. You know, wide receivers, running backs, and then help on the defense wouldn't hurt. You know, so I say keep them. You know,
music to my ears, man. I'm an O lineman. I used to play for the Steelers for 7 or 8 years, and I know for a fact, and mind you, the Steelers are one of the team that maybe the trade for Justin Fields. So, but I've been on record as saying that I think the Bears should keep him and build up around him. They got the number one overall pick, and I think it will garner a lot of attention from other teams that want to get that number one pick and draft somebody like Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. You know, so I'm right with you as an outsider looking in. Bears are my third team, by the way.
Well, that's close. That's close.
J-Bone, what are the other teams you follow, other sports?
I've gotten real big into golf here as of lately.
There we go.
Just because I got some days off during the week now, so I had to find something to fill the time, you know. I used to play religiously back in the day, but I kind of got tired of it and didn't have time. But I've been watching good golf on YouTube, which is kind of a couple young guys, you know, they have a little bit of fun on the golf course. The kid, he's made a big name for himself up on the social medias. So I watched that. I don't really care too much about the PGA Tour or the LIV or whatever it is. I don't care about that. I mean, those guys are way above my skill set, so I don't even care to watch them. They just
you like to watch relatable golf, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
It makes my day when I turn on the PGA or the Live or something and I see them chunk a shot. I'm like, yes. I'm like the wolf. I'm like, one of us. I start pounding the table.
I mean, anybody can hit out the fairway. Yeah, I want to see the people hitting out a deep rough, you know. But and baseball, I'm real big into baseball. I never really had a favorite team, just because there's not one in North Carolina, and you know everybody around where I'm at, they're Atlanta Braves fans. So I didn't want to be a Braves fan because everybody else was. That's boring.
You might as well just come over to the Cubs, man. Keep it all Chicago.
No.
That was a real quick no. It wasn't even a thought there.
No. So Bryce Harper came out, right? And I was like, man, I really dig this guy. He's got, pizzazz. He's got style. He's got an attitude. So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna follow him. So I was a Nationals fan. Whatever. They won a World Series. Awesome. After that, they did absolutely nothing but trade people. So there was a young kid named Trey Turner. I'm pretty sure y'all heard of him. He's got like the smoothest slide ever in Major League Baseball
Silky
history.
smooth. Silky
Man, I tell you. But so then I was trying to hang with him, because he was still on the Nationals at that time, and then he got traded to the Dodgers. I was like, man, I don't want to be a Dodgers fan. But I did it. Luckily, we won't at the Dodgers for long. So we packed up and met up with Bryce Harper again in Philly. So fanatic.
You're all over the place.
Hey man, I
like
get traded. It's out of my hands.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing.
I like it. You're the man of principle. We got Jay with us. You make your teams live up to us. I'm a Browns fan. I'm from Cleveland.
Hey, that's like my second team. I do like the Browns just because nobody else did.
See,
You guys just have a penchant for punishment, man. What do they call that? There's a name for
gluttony for punishment. So yeah, being a Browns fan from Cleveland. I mean, I went to the Cavs parade. I was living in Florida at the time. I went up to the Cavs parade when they won the NBA Finals because you got to celebrate every little thing you can get when you're a Cleveland fan.
Right.
But I understand being a free agent. I grew up an Indians fan, and I cannot root for the Indians anymore since they changed the name. They took all that all-star money and they dumped on the fans, and they don't put none of the money on the field. So now I'm a free agent with baseball. Every year I got to find me a new baseball team.
Well, come on to the Phillies, man. We're always, hiring. I could pull some strings, get you in. Merch is pretty cheap, It ain't that bad. That's all we ask you, just rock a hat, and that's it.
Nice little Phillies hat.
Yeah.
There's potential there. The Phillies could beat up on the Dodgers because the Phillies might be the only team in the NL and the Braves who got a chance to beat the Dodgers with Ohtani and everything they got going on out there.
Do they? Do they got everything going on out there? Is he going to play this year?
First base. He ain't going to pitch.
Oh.
Cool. Tommy?
So they don't make him a two-way player, right?
That's the Browns fan in Jay. He's like, no, when I'm not with you, I hate you. Once it's over,
they're
it's
dead
over.
to me now. Yeah, they're dead to me. Yeah.
Does your daughter play any sports?
Yeah, she plays softball. Yeah.
Does she? What grade is she in?
She's in the 11th grade. She's a junior.
So does she do the whole travel circuit thing and stuff, or is it just high school? Or
she did when she was younger, probably up to age 14 or so, 15. It just got to be too much.
Keeps you busy. My daughter's in it now. It keeps you busy.
And it's expensive. Like, come on, y'all, man. This is crazy. And then you get there and it's like kind of participation trophy type stuff, man. I'm like, no. How y'all got multiple brackets? I want the best of the best,
Right.
But
so tell me this, Jay. What kind of sports dad are you? You have your you come across as a calm and composed dad. Really, you're not the one yelling in the background.
But then there's the dead to me side.
Yeah, well, there's two sides, definitely. But for the most part, I'm just cool, calm, and collected because, the majority of stuff's out of my hands. I can't really do nothing about it. And hollering and everything don't make it no better anyway, so.
No, it don't. I found that out the hard way last week. I'm a soccer dad, man. Both my daughters play soccer. And my oldest wasn't having her best day. And being the former athlete and competitor that I am, I tried to stay silent because she gave me that look to be like, you know what, Dad, I don't need to hear your voice. I got to listen to my coach. But I feel like I know more than just about anybody else when it comes to sports.
Any sport.
Sport. I don't care what it
don't
is.
Matter. Yeah. Oh,
I haven't played soccer since I was like 7 years old, but damn it, I know what a damn corner kick is. I know where it's supposed to go,
Right.
But no, man, I had to scale it back a little bit because my daughter was like, too much pressure, Dad. too much pressure. So I've had to learn the hard way to be cool, calm, and collected, but it's in me.
Yeah. With the travel ball, man, it was, all the parents are out there basically getting drunk and stuff. So it's kind of like a club,
Yes.
and then people start getting a little rowdy. So, I mean, we can get riled up. It don't matter to me. But no,
Hey,
for the
Jay,
most part,
it's almost
it was pretty cool.
It's almost always the moms too, isn't it? It's almost always
Not
the
quite,
moms.
man. Not quite.
Really?
You'd be surprised at how much drama that you can hear if you get a group of guys together.
I
Oh,
bet.
see, where
You
I've
get
been
that
around
liquid
it,
courage up in you.
Oh yeah.
when I've been around it, the dads, we get our sunflower seeds. You pop a chair up, you're joking, having a good time. You're out at the ball field. It's the moms. They're up right behind the home plate fence, and they're up on the fence every pitch, screaming and hollering and hooting and hollering and stuff. And then the dads are out there. We're sharing tricks. Like, if you cut the top off a Capri Sun, empty half the pouch out, pour vodka in it, then take a curling iron, you seal it back up, you got alcohol.
Oh, y'all sound like a whole bunch of soccer moms, man. I didn't know that about you. Y'all talking about how to manipulate Capri Suns up in Ohio?
Oh man, if you ain't riding in on a cooler, I don't even want to mess with you.
Yeah.
Oh, now that we talk about one of our favorite pastimes is to talk about drinks. What is your beverage of choice, my man?
It's funny you say that because I'm currently sitting in my under construction bourbon room.
Oh.
Yeah. So
do you already have a collection together to fill the bourbon room, or are you just getting started?
I can't get a collection together.
Can't keep it long enough.
It's so hard to do. Like, how does one buy a bottle of bourbon or whiskey or whatever and just save it? I mean, come on, bro. We ain't kids no more. This ain't baseball cards. Let's drink that stuff, man. Let's drink it. But I'm working on it, man. Like, really, I only got maybe 2 bottles of bourbon right now at the time. But yeah, and that's one of them's Woodford, and the other one is 4 Roses, I believe.
There we go. I was hoping you said 4 Roses.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the good stuff right there.
Yeah, I ain't on the bandwagon stuff when it comes to sports or bourbon.
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace, whatever. Blanton's, whatever. I
don't need that. Nah,
there's
straight to the point.
Cheaper stuff that's better than those.
Exactly.
I told you I was just on that cruise, and on the cruise they'll do like you have I don't know if you've ever been on one or not, but they have like the duty-free shop. You can go buy your alcohol. They got the bourbon and stuff up there. I walk up there. They had a bottle of Blanton's there. They were trying to sell for $180. I was like, this is a damn $40 bottle in Kentucky. What are you doing selling this for $180?
It's like $39 here. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's nuts. It's just there's certain places you can and can't get it, but people are on the cruise and they're like, oh, I'm going to get this bottle of bourbon. You can get 5 bottles of that bourbon.
Dude, bourbon was my choice for COVID. I think everybody had, their fair share of libations when COVID went down. So bourbon, I considered myself a bourbon connoisseur, but I have since got traded, as you would say, Jay, to tequila.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
you partake. Don't you shake your head at my tequila. Don't you?
I just remembered the last shots of tequila I had on Friday. It was not expected.
Have you tried the one with the bell on top, man?
Yeah, the Casa Azul.
Yeah,
that's the real good.
House of Blue. Yeah.
Yeah, smooth as hell. I love it.
So you didn't know any Spanish, right?
Man of many talents, I see. Man of many talents.
I try, man.
Jay, I appreciate you hopping on with us.
Oh, yeah.
We'll wrap it up with a couple things. First of all, if we're ever in North Carolina, I'll hit you up for a tour of that bourbon room. Hopefully bring and add something to your collection that'll sit for like 3 days before you get through it.
Yeah, maybe.
And then we need to reach out to the Bears because I looked at the schedule real quick while we were talking here, and the Bears host the Panthers, it looks like, on the schedule. So we can get Jay up to Chicago and watch the Panthers lose to the Bears.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
So we need to start getting that trending, and we need to see Jay up there in his hippopotamus shirt.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
got a Bears helmet on.
I'll get my guy to make a special one for that.
and we'll hit the golf course up and do some average golf. Less
Yeah.
than average golf.
some
Yeah.
average golf.
And we can video it, man, put it on YouTube.
Oh
It
yeah.
might go viral. You never know.
Have a
You
good
never
time.
know.
Jay, I appreciate it. I'm gonna get you once we get them in, I'll shoot you a Pod Me Up t-shirt your way, and I gotta hit that TikTok store and get one of these the t-shirt
gotta get
cracks
the
me up when I see it.
hippopotamus shirt.
The hippopotamus with the beard just cracks me up every
Yep.
time I see
I'm
it.
on.
Yeah, man. We're actually working on something right now too. Trying to turn it into a brand. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Dude,
Well, you got
if
a
anybody
couple
can
in
do
us.
it, you can.
We'll partake. So appreciate
All
you,
right.
Jay.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate it, bro.
All right.
There he was.
Dude, it is my life goal to get this man to be a fan of a winning team. I am going to convert this man to the Steelers. Dude, he doesn't know what he's missing. Like, he's just going away from the trend,
Hey.
the popular team. He was a Panthers fan. He was a Bears fan. And the Browns are his second favorite team. No, I'm going to bring him to Steeler Nation. I think he's come on the Steeler
He's
Nation.
trending up. He's trending up. He dumped the Panthers for greener pastures. Well, the Bears, not so much.
Colder pastures. Just very cold.
It was funny though, listening to him dissect his baseball teams. I loved it because there's reason behind it. It's not just all willy-nilly. He's got reason behind
I get
his
I
baseball
understand
tees. And I respect the not going just for the bandwagon.
Dude, I
teams.
felt some type of way when he was so quick to dismiss my Cubs. He's just, no. There was no explanation, just no.
Not a shot at all. But yeah, J-Bone, check him out. Again, they got some shirts and stuff. Check him out on TikTok. It's under A&J on TikTok. And I'm sure we'll catch up with Jay again sometime in the future. And I hope we see him up in Chicago with a big bearded hippopotamus bear shirt on.
I need that in my life, man. If he does that, I'll be there to join him, man. But that was fun. He is one of the more relatable interviews that we've done. And he's just down to earth. And he is like, yes, that video blew up. But, dude, he said he still laces it up like everybody else. Goes to work from 6
So
to
he was
6.
he was talking about his bourbon room, and then I saw a video afterwards where he had this giant package of stuff delivered from his wife. She's funny too. She's hilarious because she'll get on about stuff. He had this giant package he was opening full of all this stuff from Temu, where he was decking his bourbon room out with this giant package of goods that he got in after the fact.
Man, a bottle of bourbon, man. That is.
Oh yeah, we'll send him a bourbon and maybe he likes his hats. Maybe we just send him a Pod Me Up hat.
But of course.
And get it over to him. But before we wrap this up real quick, one thing, I don't know how I feel about this. Bill Belichick and Nick Saban reportedly going to have a ManningCast type. Will either of them talk enough to do a show?
So, I don't know. Initial response, I barely tuned into the ManningCast. And mind you,
it got old. The shtick got old after a while. It was cool at first, but then the shtick got old.
I do appreciate his love for the game and his knowledge of the game. It's unique, and it's his perspective is different from anybody else's out there. And so I enjoy when he does delve into the intricacies of the quarterback position and how he plays it. But other than that, I don't know what Nick Saban and I mean they could bring the coach's perspective and it might be cool. So I'm not gonna dismiss it from the beginning.
It's gonna be Saban like yelling like this player should have been here, and it's gonna be Belichick like we're moving on to the next play, Bill. We're moving on to the next play, Nick.
I'm hoping we see some now that they're out of coaching and they get the lay their hair down. What's the saying? Let their hair.
So yeah, Saban started popping up on the Pat McAfee show a little bit.
Yeah.
And he showed a little more personality. I don't know that Belichick's got that in him.
I heard he does. I've never seen it. I just heard rumors.
Well, I've heard that he does in the locker room sense. That doesn't translate to television.
But I've seen Nick Saban do the Cupid Shuffle. I've seen the videos. Like he knows the culture. Like he can get down. And so I think
Saban did a little wobble.
He's done the Pat McAfee show. He's been on College Game Day. And so he's been kind of setting himself up for this move. Meanwhile,
halfway
Belichick
through the year.
has been the worst interview in sports for the last 20 years. And so it's going to be interesting. I want to see what he does in this type of loose setting. I wonder if Peyton can bring it out of him.
Well, no, I don't think they're going to be on the ManningCast. I think they're going to have their own ManningCast type show.
Oh, I thought they were going to be on the ManningCast.
No.
They're having their own show?
Yes, I think it's going to be the two of them, like Peyton and Eli, with their own, because like you, I like the insight that Peyton brings to the game. And Eli. I think Eli's hilarious, actually, because you could tell he's just that annoying-ass little brother that's just getting under Peyton's skin all the time. And
Eli's,
I think they're
humor, he doesn't. I think his appeal is that he's not trying to be funny.
Right. It's like a dry humor.
Yeah.
But where the ManningCast lost me is when they started adding all the guests. Like I was tuning into that to get the insight. You could have 8 guests a game, so but they were having 2, 3, 4 different guests popping in and out.
Yeah.
On the ManningCast, send that over to Aikman and Buck, who aren't saying anything. Let them have the guests. I want Peyton and Eli to lose their ever-loving mind at why are quarterbacks doing this and coaches doing that. Like that's what I'm tuning in for on the ManningCast.
Dude, when it's Manning's team, Peyton's team playing, I remember that it was a Denver Broncos game and Hackett wouldn't call a timeout. And and how perturbed he was, to put it nicely. That's the type of stuff I tune in to see. Like just
because we're all thinking the same thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not doing this?
Right.
So I don't know how Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. Yeah, like it would be hard enough adding them in with Peyton. Adding them in with Peyton to draw anything out of them. You're going to put the two of them by themselves. It's going to be like the Spider-Man gift, just like, you ready to talk?
Dude, I was hoping that it was with Peyton because I think Peyton could draw it out of him a little bit.
Maybe it will be, but what I read is it'll be the two of them. And I'm sure with the two of them, I'm sure they'll have some kind of like studio host.
They got to have a moderator. They got to it can't just be them two.
Maybe it'll be Fox's, and I don't know. Again, it's just reports, and I don't know if either of them have a deal with ESPN or anything like that, but maybe it'll be Fox's counterpart to Peyton and Eli, and they'll have, because Brady signed the deal with Fox. And I could see Brady being the guy that does that with them.
I don't even like that. You know what?
I don't like it.
If it's
I don't
with
think
ESPN,
it'll do well.
I would love to see McAfee as the moderator.
Yes.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be because they don't have to say anything. Pat's just going to talk the whole time anyways. And occasionally, like, what's the Pat McAfee show now? It's Pat McAfee talking 1,000 miles an hour. Every once in a while, the guys in the back go, what? And then AJ Hawk just leaning in. That's the Pat McAfee show. And it's entertaining as shit. Like, I love it. I'm here for it. Do you?
No, Pat's that dude, man.
He
does give his boys the stage, but like Pat's a personality, dude. One of a kind, too. And so I think he would be the perfect.
People don't realize how much he worked on his craft.
Oh, he worked. He
went on the circuit to fine tune his persona and his character, and like outside of the normal broadcast, like he was on WWE and he did stand up and he did the podcast and the Barstool thing, and like he compounded all of that into this perfect wife beater wearing, muscly, blonde-headed, surfer-looking dude from West Virginia.
Dude, and he's perfect. He's exactly what ESPN needs.
He is, because it's so stuffy and so many suits over at ESPN. Like and they're on there cussing, like, give us the fines. Give us the fines all day long on the show. He's calling out the guys in the suits and stuff. I love McAfee and what he does for it, because he worked hard to
perfect moderator for Saban.
Yeah, he did a lot though to develop that. It's not just him getting behind a. It's not just him getting behind a.
Nope.
a microphone and stuff. And I think he's probably the second hardest working former NFL player in the game behind you. So we'll
My guy.
we'll leave it with that. But yeah, thanks to J-Bone for joining us. I had a lot of fun with that. We'll reconvene and find out what we're going to do the next one, if that's good with you.
Sounds good, brother.
All right.